All right, are we recording? Yes. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Jessica Geschke with Wisconsin Voices for Recovery. I'm here with Lauren, and we're going to go ahead and get right into it and talk a little bit about our live today. I'm also joined by Megan and Monte, my coworkers here at Wisconsin Voices for Recovery. So usually what we do is we do a little bio first, and then we go ahead and bring our guest on. So I'll go ahead now and read a little bit about what makes Lauren so fantastic and why we wanted to have her join us today. So Lauren McLaughlin is the founder of Joyful Balance Wellness, and she founded that in 2012. She's also the owner and operator and clinic director. Lauren is a board certified licensed acupuncturist, a certified peer recovery specialist, and a Whole30 certified coach and clinical aromatherapist. She is especially trained in NADA detox, which we're going to talk a little bit about, used primarily for substance use disorder, mental health, and trauma. She's a person in long-term recovery, having celebrated 14 years of recovery in April of 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She has approached her approach to recovery is sustained on a multiple pathways approach. Through her journey, she has leaned on everything from running to improv comedy and all things in between. Lauren is an advocate for all pathways to recovery and serves on the board of directors to the Path to Recovery Foundation in Illinois. So thank you, Lauren, so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor to sit with you guys today. Not close, but you know.
Yes. Well, thanks so much. And again, the last couple of weeks now, we've been having individuals from Mobilize Recovery join us, which is where I also met you. So we had Megan Fisher on, and then
Love her.
Alexa came on, last week. Yep. And so again, I met you at Mobilize Recovery 2019. It seems like it was so long ago, but and each time we talk about Mobilize, it's like the same thing. I say the same thing over and over again about how many relationships have grown out of attending in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And I remember the day that I met you. Ever since that day, it's just you have been this constant light and joy in my life, and I'm so blessed to have you. Whether it's just opening up my phone in the morning and looking at your daily reports or your TikToks, or just talking to you, via Messenger or on the phone, which is why I wanted to bring you on today, because, I think that right now, we've been talking, since March with individuals in long-term recovery, and, these national advocates that have been coming on and sharing kind of what they're doing in this of COVID, right? We need someone to come on and talk a bit about joy. And that's what you stand for. When I think about that word joy, I see you.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, and it's true.
Tears of joy.
Tears of joy. I would love for you to just share a little bit about you and like your vision and your thought process on recovery and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. I look back on the past 14 years and I'm just like, how did I get here? Like, I am still in shock. First off, I adore and love you, and I am so grateful for our friendship and how it's blossomed and how it's grown and the people I get to meet through you. And it's just such an honor to be your friend and, advocate together. So thank you. So how I ended up kind of being a creator of joy is what I sort of think of myself a little bit, because I wear shirts underneath my house coat that says choose joy. Oh yeah, we have matching house coats, but mine says choose joy. And for a long time, I really chose joy. But then lately I've realized through the pandemic, I have to create it. Like, I can't just hope that joy is going to come knocking at my door. Now that does come in the form of a pizza every now and then, right? Like, the pizza man brings some joy occasionally. But that's about it. Like, that's it. That's going to be how I choose joy. So through the pandemic, I've really shifted to how can I be someone who creates joy for other people. The first 2 weeks of the stay-at-home order here in Illinois, I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna do all my business. I'm gonna really get my business like ready to go, reopen. I had all the joy sucked out of me. And I was like, this is not fun. And then one of my younger patients had told me about the TikTok. And then it just was downhill from there. So I apologize to everybody. But it really opened my eyes to like how much I can actually do from my apartment. And then sort of once I reopened, I can do in my office. But the joy actually came from, this is such a long answer to a short question. The joy actually came from a couple of years ago, prior to Mobilize and prior to actually knowing you. I hit a wall in sobriety. I was sitting in the parking lot of a Target or whatever, screaming on the phone to someone. And that is not who I got in recovery to be. Like, that is not me. And it was a volunteer position and I was so overstressed and I hung up that phone. I cried. And the next phone call was a resignation from that board of directors, because I was like, this isn't leading me to healthy recovery. So I need to step away. And then I stayed on until the end of an event. And the next day marked the year of joy. So I allowed myself to just be those couple weeks. And then it was October 20th of 2018, started the year of joy. And everything shifted. It was unbelievable how my life changed. It brought me Mobilize. It brought me a new recovery. It brought me more friends, more business, more, like, everything. My world opened up. And here I thought I was doing so many good things, but I had no idea what joy could bring. So that's a really long answer for a short question. Sorry.
No. Your snorts.
Oh yeah. And I snort when I laugh. I apologize for anybody watching this.
That's great, because that brings me joy. No, but and I love that, because I don't think a lot of people would have enough self-awareness, right, to take that step back and say, okay, like, I need to do something different. And I know for me, like, you've done that for me. And even just recently, you know, I celebrated my 42nd, right? Yes, I turned 40. Yeah. 42nd birthday, and I was down and out. It was September. Like, I've been at home for so long with my child who has an autoimmune disease. I can't go anywhere. And you called me and said, like, well, let's just get together. Let's go do something. And I remember these conversations that we had, pushing me to think about things differently. You made me do yoga. Get up and go for walks. I was like, why am I having to do this? But and in the end, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, because you know why? Because I complain, right? I'm complaining to you all the time about how I'm not healthy, how I don't go anywhere, how I don't do anything. And that's where I can see that transition and that shift for people. We get stuck in this rut and we need something different. And I love it. I love how you really do push people to think it's different, even with their food, which I wanted to talk a little bit about, the programs that you've been doing. I've been watching you and I'm so proud because it all relates back to your recovery. Can you share a little bit about your 75 hard food program that you did, and like this thing you've got going on, and how that for you?
So again, the pandemic, I see, just like all of you, I'm sure you're seeing people overindulging in all substances, whether it's sugar, whether it's, pizza, whether it's comfort foods, and then obviously the alcohol. My heart goes out to those people who have found themselves really dependent on it and maybe not realizing it yet. Just know that there's hope out there. But I was fine during during the stay-at-home order. I was eating fine. Everything was great. You know, I did make some chocolate chip cookies, but you know, they were good. But the minute I reopened my office, I immediately began stress eating. I was almost doing addictive behavior in the sense of like searching, planning, doing all of those things that look very similar to when I was using cocaine and alcohol. You know, it'd be Monday night and I'm like, okay, how am I going to get my drug of choice on Thursday? And like planning all of those things. So to me, I started the behaviors right when I opened because I was so worried of keeping everybody safe, everybody's needs met, not mine, but like, how do I open a business with acupuncture, being in the same room with someone and keeping everybody safe? So about a month into it, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm eating way too much. I'm noticing that is leading to addictive behaviors, not in terms of my particular substances, but sugars and carbs and all that good stuff, which they're not bad. I just noticed that I was overdoing it. So of course, on the TikTok, I come across this silly thing called 75 Hard. It was created by a guy named Andy Frizella from First Form. I don't even know what that is, but I saw it and I was like, I don't know what this is. I'll check it out. And I will do anything for a t-shirt. Jeez. So you give me a t-shirt or a medal, I'm in. Like, I'll do it. So it was, I started, I don't even know what day, August something. I don't know. It was 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside, 45 minutes each. Drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of a personal development book, follow a lifestyle diet. So meaning diet, not in the sense of like diet, meaning like whatever lifestyle you want to choose. There's people out there that are doing 75 hard, doing vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, paleo, keto. I chose Whole30. It's how I feel the best. I'm also a certified coach for them. So it felt really natural for me to do. And that was the ability to cut all sugar out of my diet so I could kind of stop that seeking behavior. And then what else did I have to do? Take progress pictures, no alcohol, no cheat meals, you know. So it was 75 days of that. And it was pretty life-changing and a lot of discipline, a lot of planning. And for me, I've realized through the pandemic that my recovery is based a lot on goal setting. So having a goal and working towards it very slowly. Had I failed, you know, I would have failed and that's okay. And I would have started over and tried a different approach because I'm a perfectionist. It's one of my lovely defects, but I would have started over and really tried. So I finished, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago and completed the program, and I'm super happy I did it. It was a lot of planning, a lot of working out.
Well, we're very, very proud of you for doing that. I know personally, I watched through that. And so kudos to you.
Yes.
What advice would you give someone? Because I like what you said. If I failed, then I failed and I would try something different. So when thinking about recovery or sobriety from a substance right now in this era of our pandemic that we're in, what would you say to someone who might be struggling?
Oh, little steps. You know, if I've had a lot of people reach out, and right now, my biggest thing is harm reduction. You know, if you don't have the support around you, like if you're truly isolated and you don't have the support, let's just keep you alive. You know, so if it means that instead of having a whole bottle of wine, have a half a bottle. Like let's move towards recovery in a slow fashion. You know, some people like myself, I needed the full break and move on. other people are not able to do that, and that's okay. We're going to meet you wherever you're at, and let's get as much harm reduction as we can around you. Whether it's heroin, whether it's cocaine, whatever, like let's find the things that we can do to keep you alive, to be able to get to recovery when you have more support. So yeah, that's really what I'm doing with a lot of people who reach out, is let's keep in contact with me. Tell me the wins that you've had, and little wins. Like if you made your bed or you showered, that's huge. That's huge. So if that's what we got today, then let's celebrate it.
Spoken like a true recovery coach. Are you a recovery coach?
I am.
You are.
Look at that.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that and that experience, or what you offer, and also your acupuncture business?
Yeah. So it's so interesting. This is the weirdest year ever. Like, I've really shifted my focus onto recovery this year, just out of natural need, I guess. When I first was introduced to acupuncture, I got into it for people in recovery. Over the years, I've shifted my recovery. It's looked very different. I started sort of advocating for multiple pathways before multiple pathways was even a thing. I feel like I sort of shifted my recovery back in 2011. And again, multiple pathways wasn't even a thing. Like, nobody talked about it. It was all certain programs, and that's what you did. And so I developed my own recovery when I was in acupuncture school. So one of my ultimate goals is to have a clinic that's completely substance use based. So that's what I'm kind of working towards. And then also offering peer support. So kind of doing the two things together. The AcuDetox is a specific protocol that is for substance use disorder. So it helps people coming off of all types of substances. I've used it for cocaine, heroin, smoking, alcohol, all of those things. And it's been quite successful. But yeah, it's interesting how my practice has really shifted and moved towards mental health and substance use.
So if somebody that's watching this wants more information on what you do, where can they reach you?
There's a lot of places. I feel like I'm all over. Joyfulbalancewellness.com. You can fill out the little contact form. That you can send me a message on the Facebook. You can send me a message on the Instagram. My Instagram handle is joyfully sober. You can follow me on the TikTok, which is also joyfully sober. I apologize for all house coat dances. It's just a thing.
I want to talk about that too before we're done. We have some time yet, but
yeah.
The other thing I wanted to hit on was your Create Joy 2020 challenge. I saw that on your Facebook page. What does that all entail, and why did you do that? Because it looks like you threw it out to anyone and everyone that wants to join.
Yeah. I finished 75 hard, and I was like, I need something to do. Like, I'll speak for myself, but for myself, like if I have idle time, things happen. Whether it's I have 72 packages coming from Amazon, like that, that leads to those things, right? The things that I comfort with are things that aren't necessarily moving me towards better health, mentally or physically. So I realized after 75 hard, I needed something else. And I love doing my house coat dance every morning. It's one of my favorite things. So I know that dancing is a huge part of recovery for people. I also know that the self-esteem issue of like, I don't want to dance in front of other people, but I can dance alone in my house. And so I thought, okay, well, that will be good. So I just have people dance every day to one song, move for 30 minutes a day. And that movement can be anything. It doesn't matter. It can be washing dishes. It can be whatever you choose to do to move. And we all know the benefit of exercise in recovery. And then the other part is gratitude. And a lot of my recovery has been based on gratitude. So just writing down 3 things a day that we're grateful for. And hopefully, I've seen so many posts and so many patients that have come in and said, 2020 sucks. Yeah, there's a lot to deal with in 2020, but we can either choose to continue the rhetoric of it sucks, or we can choose to move towards a better year. And can we end on a better year? So that was my goal, to just help people shift that focus, because holidays might look different for people. And if that's how they were like getting through, like, oh, I can get to Thanksgiving and I'll see my family, and now that's shifting or whatever, at least we can have a little bit more joy.
Yeah, I think that is so important, because when you talk about the year of 2018 for you being kind of that shift year to choose joy,
yeah,
it's a choice that we have to make. And right now, with so many people saying exactly what your patients are saying, right? 2020 sucks. This year is a complete mess. It does kind of put that into perspective. Yeah, I mean, it can't be a complete mess, but what are you going to do about it? And where can you find that things that we are grateful for, and change that switch, right? And make that choice. Where I think for me, when I see the things that you're doing on Facebook, right, or your silly TikToks, it's like, where does she get so much energy, and she's so happy all the time? And that's right. And I have to think about that for a minute. I'm like, well, it's because she chooses to. Like, it's her choice to do that. And I strive to be more like you, right? And to do those things so that I don't get up and just, it's another day and here we go again. And choose joy, exactly what it says, before we put on our amazing matching house coats.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say too, like, I don't every day have joy, and I try and be authentic on social media of like, hey, I am not feeling it. You'll notice, like, I'll go through periods of not posting a joke or not posting a TikTok. It's my time. Like, sometimes I just need to sit and think and like be okay with just getting through the day. But I know that at the end of the day, I was able to stay sober. I was able to show up for my family and show up for my patients. And sometimes that's the only bandwidth I have. So, and again, like, I think I put pressure on myself, like, to do a TikTok every day sometimes. And I just can't. I cannot do it. And that's okay. People they can find their own fun.
That is true. So let's talk a little bit about those TikToks. I'll never forget you and I sitting. And that lady that was sitting across from us was talking about her TikToks, and then she wanted your TikTok. Your TikTok handle.
Yeah.
And then, and we're like, okay. And I mean, you're kind of TikTok famous. People are like all about you and your TikTok, and you've got thousands of followers. Paid by TikTok now, because so many people like follow you and they want to see your TikToks. So anyone out there watching this, if you have TikTok, make sure you follow her. And if you are on Instagram or Facebook, make sure you follow her, because these TikToks that she does are so funny that I wake up and it's the first thing I see when I flip on my phone, just to smile. And I know we've talked about this, about how you really got to come out of your comfort zone, right? Like, you're out there just shaking it. You're doing your thing on Facebook.
In a house coat. Like,
a house coat.
My mom has given up on me getting married. Like, she's like, good luck. I'm never going to question ever again why you're single.
Come on. But really, I mean, you bring so much joy to people, but in the stuff that you create and come up with, I just sit back and think, wow.
No, it is like normally in like in my office, I'll create like a lot of stuff, and I don't have that ability now. Like, so I can't do events. I can't do the things that bring me my creative outlet. So these videos allow me to be creative. And that is the best thing for me and my mental health. But I am totally not TikTok famous. I do not have that many followers. Like I'm not famous. Sometimes I'm just the most famous that someone knows, like physically knows, but I'm definitely not TikTok famous. I'm just a weirdo who dances in a house coat. And it's so weird when like someone I actually know, like I actually know them, they will comment. I'm like, oh my God, people actually know me on here. Like,
well, now you just wait because Monte Ball will be retweeting and redoing your things on his big platform page, and then you're gonna be famous.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna follow you right now on Instagram.
Oh God.
Right after this. Yep.
That's how you get famous.
I have 54,000 followers on Instagram, and I will be posting some of your videos.
Oh God.
Lauren, it's all about to change. We are change makers here at Wisconsin Voices. We change lives.
Well, it's super. Oh my God. Don't do that because it's so embarrassing. Like it was crazy when it started to like get bigger, and I only have 16,000 on TikTok. Like I'm a woman who's not adorable. Like I'm not. What I've noticed on the TikTok, and again, it's like every other platform. There's people on there who are really, really funny, and then there's really, really pretty, and like I'm mediocre at all of that. So I think I'm like in the mediocre phase, and I'm not a man. So like I don't get the thousands and thousands of followers just because I have those things. So I just am like super grateful that people like what I do every now and then. So.
Wait, did you say 16,000?
Yeah.
Right. Just 16,000.
That's a lot of followers.
It's not that big.
That is a lot. And people like you, Lauren, because you're so charismatic and you're so down to earth. You're so funny. And so, yeah, that's why people are following you. And that's why we love you so much.
Oh, same.
And your posts are about recovery based. So many of them. And you don't see that a lot. People don't openly talk about their recovery.
Yeah.
You know, and like things like some of those posts I've seen that you do, those TikToks, you incorporate your sobriety date or like, you know, things that you don't agree with. And you're shouting from the mountaintops about being sober and recovery and bringing attention to it. So kudos to you, you know, like you're using your platform to bring awareness to things. So yeah, it's very meaningful.
Important. I think it's important for people to know that, like, you know, I have so many people who've said like, I can't do that because, you know, I would need to drink before or whatever. And it's like, you don't need to. Like, one of my biggest fears when I entered treatment, I remember I went to Hazelden and I had the pure like privilege to go to Hazelden. Like that was amazing to be able to go there. And I remember sitting there and crying with my therapist and saying like, what if I'm not funny? Like that's my crutch. Like, what if I'm not funny? And I really worked hard to cultivate that because that was so important in the beginning. And it turns out I'm mediocre funny.
You are very funny. You're a blast, which is why I love you so much.
Well, thank you.
So what's next in the world of Lauren? Like, what are some of your goals and things that you want to do in 2021?
You know what's so funny? I actually did a Marco Polo with a friend, and I was like, I gotta start planning 2021. Like, there's a couple things in the works. We're potentially working on an RCO here in Illinois, in DuPage County. So we're really excited about that. We're just waiting on some grants. My office lease is up. So I am actually looking at what I can do for the greater community and how that might look. And yeah, and actually like fulfilling my goal of having a clinic where I can service people in recovery, in many different ways. So that sounded a little weird, but you know what I mean?
We know what you mean. If you ever, you know, the offer still stands for you to move to Wisconsin and come up, you can live anywhere around here and start working around Wisconsin, we would love to have you. You don't need to stay in Illinois. Those Illinois people, I tell you.
You know, it's very interesting to be in Illinois. It's very deep 12-step based. So that's the wall that we're working through. So, and that's a great program to do. But I think an RCO is much needed in our community. And I'm really looking forward to however that looks, and just opening people's eyes to what other options are there. And I think, again, like to your point, like that's why I make TikToks like that I've been approached that like my sobriety doesn't matter because I don't follow a certain path. And I've been told that, and that's not true. Like I'm just as in recovery as everybody else. It just looks different. I've run marathons, I've done improv, I've done sweat lodges, like you name it, I've done it.
Awesome. Well, I don't think I have anything else unless our Illinois staff member, Megan, has any other questions for you. No, she's like, no. No. Monte, you got any other questions?
I actually do not. A lot was covered there, and it's awesome. Your passion, your joy, your just energy is much needed in this country right now.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Very contagious.
Well, not as contagious as the COVID.
That is very true. I don't know what we're going to do with you, Lauren. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We missed you like crazy, and we'll hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah.
Until then, take care. Keep up those TikToks. We'll be watching. And
thank you.
How can people get a hold of you?
Instagram is Joyfully Sober, same as TikTok. And then Facebook is Joyful Balance Wellness. And then Lauren McLaughlin on the Facebook.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.